If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast. We are, of course, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know that. Yes, we will have some other shows from time to time pop up on the Even Money Podcast feed, like the College Draft Podcast, where I love Emery making his picks against the spread for college football. You also might see this Even Money Betting Podcast on some of the other feeds, Raw Sucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, etc. Thank goodness I got a chance to play for a while because it enabled me to have all these podcasts and call games. I got another doubleheader coming up this weekend, Saturday, noon Eastern Time, CBS Sports Network, Wake Forest at UConn. And then Sunday night, I'll be in the booth for Westwood One on the radio side, Jets Steelers, which I know Steve and I are going to have a bet on a little bit later. Check us out on social media. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. He's at Fezzik Sports. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Love those of you that engage in any way or rate and review the show. That counts, by the way, to get your email question answered from Steve if you just rate and review the show. As a reminder, you can always see all of our bets in black and white on the vaunted spreadsheet from our Australian sensation Grades, a.k.a. Sean Grady. Patreon.com/RT Media. Make sure you're a Tuckheads member. Shout out to the latest. Adrian Aguiar, Eric Christensen, Dan Vachin. Love it. Come on down. Patreon.com/RT Media. Steve is the star of the show. We know that. The only two-time winner of the Super Contest at the Westgate. Steve, we like to dive right into it with how we did the week before. I feel like we are struggling to catch a break with the close ones, which we will explain. I was down 4 units for the week. You were dead even, Steve. Dead even. 0 units. So for the season, I am down 9 units. For the season, you are down 15.5 units. For those of you that are new, whether it's youtube.com/RawSuckerNFL or listening via podcast, we have a very, very well-documented, good return on investment on this show over the years. This is the worst start that we've gotten off to. But that means probably that we'll only go up from here. Niners, Seahawks, we both leaned Seahawks, Steve. Good thing that's all it was. Jags, Bears. I had the Jags, or you did too. I had the Jags. I'm confused by these teasers a little bit. So you had Jags, Eagles, but you didn't have Jags, Jets, I guess, Steve?
Yeah, I don't
but you
think
did have
we matched
Eagles,
exactly.
Jets? Interesting. All right, so here's the deal. We had Jags +8. You and I both had Jags +8, paired with the Eagles -2.5. The Jags are going in the penalty box, Steve. They stink. We can't count on them. They were getting 8.5 in London, which is supposed to be their home away from home. They lost by 19. They're going with the Panthers and the Browns in my personal penalty box.
No one wanted the Jaguars when they were +2, and then at 6 in the morning, my time, right before kickoff, they were cutting in line to lay 1.5 with these loser Jaguars. It goes back to, if there's one theme I preach, whenever there's a huge line move, always play back. Always play back. It's irrational exuberance. It's like when a stock, there's a term in Wall Street, trees don't grow to the sky. And Jaguars should never become 2-point favorites in games that, in retrospect, they should have been an underdog in.
Why is that the case? Why do they even have momentum like that? Why did the line move like that?
My theory is that because it's a 6:30 a.m. start time Pacific, that basically the sharps have gone to sleep. They've made their bets, and there's nothing to stop the square balls, the recreational bettors, from just waking up and say, who's favored? All right, I'm going to bet on whoever's favored. And what's the simplistic narrative? Oh, the Jags are good in London. Having said that, the simplistic handicap crushed last week as home underdogs, Ross. Wait for it. 0-9 against the spread. We will not see that again in my lifetime.
Wow. Why do you think that was the case?
It wasn't fluky. The Jets should have probably covered, and maybe the Giants, the other 7, really were the wrong sides. It's just like it. I won't even say it's a once in a generation. I would say it's a once in a lifetime occurrence. So when I go even, I love playing home dogs. So when I have a week where I don't get crushed and home dogs go 0-9, that's like winning 10 units in my opinion.
Wow.
And Ross, only 2 of those 9 teams even covered their teasers. And one of it was a miracle, like the Chargers, Denver game where Denver was down, huge. So the Jets game was the only one that was even competitive.
Browns, Eagles, we both had the Eagles in the teaser leg -2.5. Kind of got dicey, but it came through. So you paired them with the Titans and the Jets. So that was 2 teaser wins for you. I paired them with the Jets. That was my only teaser win. The Jags ruined my other 2 with the Eagles and the Jets. Commanders, Ravens. Twice this happened to me, Steve. Twice. Where I'm getting 6.5 with the Commanders. They're down 10. They kicked the field goal. They kicked the field goal to make it a 1-score game. The Broncos did that as well. I feel like that didn't used to happen 10, 20 years ago, where they realized, okay, we're down 10. We need 2 scores anyway. Let's kick the field goal now and then the onside kick. No, that's not what you should do. You should get the backdoor cover touchdown. You should just go for the touchdown and get the backdoor cover, Steve. Killed me. I mean, the Commanders and the Broncos, they both looked like they had a good chance to score a touchdown. What I think is interesting about that is when you decide whether or not to kick the field goal versus getting the touchdown then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that if you're basically up against the clock where you're like, hey, I'm only going to get the ball back with seconds remaining, I'm going to have to try Hail Mary anyways. So I'll take the 3 and then take my chances. The analytics people should be on top of this, running their projections. Who knows if they really are?
Anyway, I lost 2 units there by half a point. We talk about how important the half a point is. I was getting 6.5 with the Commanders. You leaned that way. They lost by 7. Texans, Patriots, I leaned laying the points with Texans, the 7. They won by 20, although I thought Drake May did some positive things. Cardinals, Packers. I leaned to the Cardinals getting the 5, thinking maybe they'd have some momentum. Thankfully, it was just a lean. You took the over, Steve. I saw somebody comment on YouTube, youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. Never take the over in a Packers game without checking the weather first. Your thoughts, Steve?
I think that's good advice, especially as we get to the winter months, which starts right about now in the frozen tundra. Yes.
Colts, Titans, I had nothing. You had the Titans in a teaser leg. They came through. This is interesting. You know I rarely lay points, especially on the road. They both came through for me. I laid 2 points with the Bucs at the Saints. They won by 14. In fact, that was our crowning moment of the weekend, Steve. Crowning moments are presented by DraftKings. Submit your winning bets for a chance to be featured. DraftKings, the crown is yours. You and I, our best bets have been very good over the years. We don't typically lay points. We laid it with the Bucs. Their offense is a machine. 2 units for both of us. Bucs 50 burger against the Saints.
So what's interesting, I don't think it was a scoregami, an original score, but here it's such an unusual score that Ross Tucker, Ivy League grad, understates how his margin of victory, they actually won by 24 points, not 14.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 51-27. Such a good point. All right. So Steelers, we both leaned to the Steelers laying the 3, and they won by 19. We should have laid it. Broncos, Chargers. We both had the Broncos in a best bet. We had 3 of these straight up best bets. The Broncos getting 3. They were down 23-0. They came
never
out
in it. It was misleading final. We were dead. Dunzo from the start. Another game where kicking the field goal on the last drive sealed our final fate.
terrible. Falcons, Panthers. We laid 6 on the road, or I laid 6. You didn't do it. I laid 6 on the road with the Falcons. They won by 18. I got the Panthers pegged now. I know the Panthers.
No
So do you.
defense.
You did the over for 2 units, which easily won. Lions, Cowboys, nothing. Bengals, Giants. That one hurt, Steve. That one hurt. We had the Giants getting 3.5. They should have been able to. It was 7-7 in the fourth quarter. They should have been able, and they missed 2 field goals.
Supposed to fall down on the 1 yard line. Game's over. Victory formation. Nope. Into the end zone.
Chase Brown. And that started with my guy Yossi Vosh from Princeton making that catch. Bills,
Thing of beauty.
Jets. We had the Jets as a teaser leg, and it came through. Okay. You know one way to be able to have more money to place bets? Save money. Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about any of those gotchas ever again from big wireless providers. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/even. That's mintmobile.com/even. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/even. $45 upfront payment required. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. I love football. I love tailgating. I love that you guys get to tailgate a lot more than I do with Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka and an official vodka partner of the NFL. It's an experience that is best enjoyed together. How about this? Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. Tickets, sideline passes, much more. Head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15th. WeDoGameDays.com. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends 11/15/24. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Incorporated, New York, New York. Told you what we were for the week. On the best bets, we were 2-3. For the year on the best bets, we're 19-21. 48% strike rate. Not good enough. We need to have a better week this week. I think we will. It starts Thursday night. The Broncos are laying 2 on the road against the Saints, Steve.
Who the heck are the Broncos to be laying points on the road? I know the Saints gave up, as you said, the 50 burger. All the more reason that the Saints should be focused this week. So I'm going to make 2 bets here. I'm going to play a whole bunch of teasers this week. I'm going to pair them all in with the Sunday night football game. So I'm going to, which I'll disclose at the end. No, I'll disclose it now. So I'm going to tease the Saints 2 units from +2 to +8 with the Pittsburgh Steelers +1.5 up to +7.5 for 2 units. I'm going to take the Saints +2 for 2 units also in a straight bet.
Wow. Well, I'm not doing that, but I'll take the Saints in a teaser leg up to +8. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 teaser legs this week. So grades, those are going to be 1 unit teasers only, because I'm going to pair them all together like I like to do round robin. Actually, there's a couple teaser legs I turned down this week that I normally would do, but I didn't love them. So Saints up to +8. I'm with you. And yes, I am pairing that with the Steelers up to +7.5. So that is a best bet for us.
The best bet.
Patriots Getting 5.5 in London against the Jags. Totals 42.5, Steve. I should have mentioned Thursday night totals only 37. Saints are very banged up in that one. Patriots, Jags, 42.5, Steve.
Yeah, so I just missed on the Patriots. I need 6. At 6, I'll play them. I will lean to the Patriots against the Jaguars. They're losers. But, this is their best role in London, but may look pretty good. I'll lean New England.
I'm going to put 1 unit on New England. 1 unit, New England, plus the 5.5, because this falls under the category of who are the Jags to be laying 5.5 points to anybody? All right. That's what you always say, Steve, so I had to do it. The Lions are getting 2.5 on the road in Minnesota. I know they lost Hutchinson. Total's 49.5. I know they lost Hutchinson, and I know they're coming off that big win. Vikings off a bye. I don't care. Give me the Lions plus 8.5 as one of my teaser legs.
Yeah, and I'm pairing every one of my teaser legs. I'm shoving with the Steelers this week. I'm all in with the Steelers on the teasers. They're in every one of my teasers. And all these other teasers are just going to be paired to the Steelers. But I, too, have the Lions. You know what? I'm going to play the over, 49.5. 1 unit on the over. Also, what should be a shootout.
Got it. Yep. Lions, just a teaser leg for me, plus 8.5, one of my round robins. All right. Texans, Packers. Another juicy matchup, 1 o'clock. The Texans are getting 2.5. The total's 47.5, Steve. I'll just say it. Texans are another one of my teaser legs. I've got them up to plus 8.5 in Green Bay. I think that'll be a good game.
I'm going to lean to the Packers minus the 2.5, but no official play. I'm leaning over, but I haven't checked the weather yet. And a wise man told me it's time to start checking the weather. So I just a lean to the over.
Yeah, that cost you last week because that game would have gone over if it wasn't pouring raining in Green Bay the whole time. All right, Eagles, Giants. The Giants are getting 3.5, Steve, just like they were last week. The total's 43.5.
I'm going to lean to the over in this game as well. I've got nothing on the side. I will say, the Giants played well against the Bengals, and if they would have had neighbors, they easily would have covered. But the Eagles are better than the Bengals, and the Eagles actually, that was a phony final against Cleveland because of the 10-point turnaround at the end of the first half on the blocked field goal. Just a lean to the over.
I'm taking the Giants for 2 units, 3.5 points. I think the Eagles probably still win the game, but I do think they'll get neighbors back for this game. And Mailata is out for the Eagles. Not good going against this D-line for the Giants. So Giants plus 3.5, 2 units. Bengals, Browns. Browns are getting 4.5 at home. The total's 43, Steve.
So I want to bet against both teams, and they're playing each other. I don't care Watson completes 11 straight passes. He's terrible. And the Bengals are disappointing even when they cover. I pass the game.
I was going to try to figure out how you're going to bet against both teams. I was like, okay, this is new. I've never heard him do this. All right. I got nothing on that one. I will lean to the Bengals laying the 4.5 because their defense looked good finally against the Giants. So, and I got faith in their offense. So it's a lean to the Bengals getting the 4.5. What about the Seahawks? Plus 2.5 in Atlanta, totals 51.
Just a lean to Atlanta. They're playing very well. Cousins looks fully recovered from his injury, and now that running game is meshing, and Seattle's banged up on defense, lean Atlanta.
It's a lean to Atlanta for me as well. And for those of you that say we're formulaic and every 2.5 you always tease, note that neither Steve nor I are teasing the Seahawks up to 8.5, even though they're getting 2.5. So we don't always do that. We're not in this case. What about the Titans? They're getting 8.5 on the road in Buffalo. Totals 42.5, Steve.
So bread and butter. This one is formulaic. The Bills should win. So I'm going to tease the Bills from 8.5 down to the 2.5 with Pittsburgh. All my teasers are 2 units this week.
Yep, that's another teaser leg for me as well, taking the Bills down to -2.5. I would be stunned if they lost at home to the Tennessee Titans. That's not happening. Bills, another one of my teaser legs. That's the fourth teaser leg so far. All right, the Dolphins, they're getting 3.5 against the Colts. The total's 43.5. Steve, I love getting 3.5. I love it. I can't do it with the Dolphins. And by the way, I don't love Anthony Richardson, who is going to play this week. So there's a lot of things telling me to go with the Dolphins. Coming off a bye, they won their last game. Huntley's more familiar with the offense. Anthony Richardson's not as good in terms of winning as Flacco. I don't know. Am I talking myself into taking the Dolphins? What do you think?
No, you're not going to take the Dolphins, and here's why. Let's assume, as they're currently constituted, these two teams, they played the year out, and this was week 1. The Colts would be like an 8-win team, right around average, just slightly below average, and the Dolphins would be like a 5.5-win team without a quarterback. So the Colts, where I'm getting at, they're not just better, they're much better in their home. We can't play the Dolphins. We pass.
All right, we're passing. I'm passing with Steve. I'm going to lean to the Dolphins. I'll lean to the Dolphins because I think Anthony Richardson's going to be rusty. Carolina is getting 7.5 in Washington. Total's 52.
All right. Well, I'll certainly tease Washington. Another teaser in with your Steelers, Ross. I am, every Carolina game goes over, and every Washington game is high scoring. I'm playing it. I'm doing it. Over 52, sky high number, 2 units.
Ooh. Okay. You know what? 52. I'm trying to think of scores. That's 26-26. I think I'm with you, Steve. I'm doing it. The Carolina Panthers defense is that bad. So wash Carolina over 52, 2 units. That's a best bet. And yes, I've got Washington as my 5th teaser leg, no question, down to -1.5. How about Raiders and the Rams, Stevie? We got the Raiders getting 5.5. The total's 43.
Yeah, so the Rams are the home team, but the Raiders will have the crowd, right? There'll be a lot of Raider fans who are extremely loyal despite the team not being very good. One cool thing, I don't know if I mentioned to you, Ross, Andre James, the starting center for the Raiders, lives next door to me. Yep. So great kid. I was just talking to him. He's like he's always so positive. I'm not as enthusiastic with what I'm seeing from the poor Raiders. I'll lean to the Raiders because of the crowd support, just a lean.
Cooper Kupp practiced. It's just a lean to the Raiders for me too. I was going to put a unit on it. I just can't. I can't do it. It's a lean to the Raiders at 5.5 for me. Well, while we're talking about numbers, Steve, how about these numbers? 72 months, 0% interest with up to $1,500 off. That is insane. No interest until 2030. You can hear people sometimes have a deal with a 0% long-term interest plan or a discount. How about both? How about not having to pay any interest 2 presidents from now? If you've ever wanted a new door, get one now. I'm getting one for my office building here. If you've ever wanted to do a new bath remodel or a new shower, now is the time. We already did a couple. Couldn't possibly recommend westshorehome.com/Ross more highly. My daughters love their shower and thank me all the time. westshorehome.com/Ross. westshorehome.com/Ross. In fact, they'll be so happy. You can all celebrate this incredible deal you're getting by drinking some Labatt Blue Lights with your friends, maybe your family, because they're so happy you're getting a new door or new windows or a new bathroom. Living life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. Chiefs are getting 1.5. One of the Chiefs underdogs. The total is 47. Love the Chiefs as a teaser leg. I can get the Chiefs with more than a touchdown plus 7.5. Add them to my tab.
Absolutely. I was thinking about this game. when Mahomes gets down 10 points, all he does is win the game. So we don't even have to panic if we get a slow start. So absolutely, Andy Reid off of a bye, and Kansas City as a dog is fantastic. We'll tease them in again with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Love it. Well, you've referenced the game a zillion times so far, Steve. It's Sunday Night Football. I'll be in the booth for Westwood One, so if you're driving around, you can listen, find the station or Sirius XM 88 or whatever. The Jets are laying 1.5 on the road against the Steelers. Totals 37. All of our lines are at DraftKings when we're recording early Tuesday morning. I'm befuddled by that line. I mean, obviously you are. You've taken the Steelers in every teaser leg. If the Steelers lose this, you are. If the Steelers don't cover, you're in bad shape. I've got the Steelers as a teaser leg as well. That is a surprising line. On the road, the Jets laying points?
It makes no sense to me. I never do this because I always preach bankroll management. Don't overbet your bankroll on any one game. And I've already got 5 teasers. So I've got 10 units on the step. But you know what? That's what they pay me to do here, Ross, is to spot bad numbers. And this is a bad number. The Steelers are every bit as good as the Jets, and they're home. And the spot's terrible for the Jets. They're in a different continent. They fire their coach. Then they have that emotional game on Monday Night Football, tough physical game that they should have won, but they lose to Buffalo. And now they got to go to Pittsburgh. Give me a break. The wrong team's favored. None of my teasing it 5 times. Give me Pittsburgh plus 1.5 for 2 units.
Wow. Even going with the Steelers with the spread. Love it. I just got the Steelers as a teaser leg up to plus 7.5. 2 more games here. Ravens laying 3.5 against the Bucks Monday night. Totals 48.
So that Baltimore defense, that rush defense is awesome. But, you know, the Bucks, they can move on the ground and through the air. Defense, not so good. This is a shootout written all over it. I'm going to go over 48 for 3 units.
Over 48, 3 units. I got 2 bets on this game. Number 1, over 48, 2 units for the reasons why you just mentioned. I also like the Bucks getting 3.5. The Ravens secondary is a problem, and the Bucks are a machine on offense right now. I think it's a shootout. Ravens probably win, but it's in Tampa Monday night, like 38-35 Ravens. I got 2 units on the Bucks, 2 units on the over. What about Chargers? They're laying 2.5 against Arizona. Total is 44, Steve. They're one of my teaser legs. Arizona's bouncing back from that Packers game. I got the Cardinals up to 8.5 as a teaser leg.
So Arizona's a dead nut over team. Bad defense. Murray's playing well. And the Chargers have been an under team, but that's because of the injuries that they've had. Herbert not being mobile. I think the Chargers are going to start scoring, and their defense looked leaky. I know it was prevent, but they still let Knicks run on them, so that means Murray should run on them as well. I'm going to go over in this game as well, over the 43, I guess it's 44, just bad number, so I'll play 1 unit only, over 44.
Love it. We need a big week, Steve. Let's do it. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.